A landmark legal decision over a hidden hazard in common highway guardrails. It's a major case with victims alleging a design flaw that maims and kills. Our chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross brings us the details for our series Nightline Investigates.
We need to get somebody out of here quick.
Today's verdict comes after a growing number of cases in which highway guardrails meant to protect instead killed or almost killed.
All right, sir, I'm trying to locate you.
It was just after midnight when Jay Traylor of North Carolina hit a guardrail head-on after nodding off.
I'm really died. All right, we're trying to get some help.
The long steel rail, seen in this photo from the back of the vehicle, sliced through Traylor's SUV like a thick, sharp spear, and then cut off both of his legs.
I've lost my legs and a leg. Are you saying you've lost both your legs, sir? Yeah.
36-year-old Traylor survived, able to save his life with a makeshift tourniquet, but not his legs.
In the wreck, this one was gone. Then I had to make the choice to lose that one, too.
It wasn't supposed to happen. This test film from 15 years ago shows how a guardrail is supposed to absorb the impact, even in a head-on crash at 62 miles per hour. The truck hits what is called the end terminal, which, like a sled, moves along the guardrail, curling the rail off to the side. But that's not what happened with Jay Traylor.
Had the guardrails done their job, I probably would have walked away just going, damn, I'm an idiot.
It's not the only case, and now Traylor and accident victims across the country are suing the manufacturer, Trinity Industries of Texas. At issue in today's verdict was whether the company for years hid a known defect in its guardrails.
We got 500,000 of these.
There's 500,000 of these on our highways today.
The lawsuit was brought by a competitor of Trinity, Josh Harmon, who says that the company tried to save a few dollars by quietly making a small change of just an inch, from 5 inches down to 4 inches, in the original design of its end terminal, which, he testified, created a significant flaw.
They made all the differences to safety. Essentially, it's a complete different product.
This animation shows what Harmon says happens with the original design, gliding along the rail and curling it off to the side. And then what he says can happen with the modified version. The guardrail jams up, breaks off, and the rail drives through the vehicle.
Well, see, this is one of the identification marks of a fail where it bows the plate. See the plate? That should never happen.
With real-life examples on highways across America, Harmon says.
This failed. This is a classic failure.
Trinity has turned over 2 sets of safety crash tests to defend itself with federal highway officials and prove its modified version performs just as well as the original. And despite the growing evidence of gruesome accidents, federal officials accepted Trinity's defense, saying its new version meets federal safety standards.
Mr. Artemovich, Brian Ross from ABC News.
The official who made that decision is Nick Artemovich, who declined to talk with us until we showed up at an industry conference.
Why did you make that decision?
Based on the evidence that was presented to us.
And you think they're safe now on the highways?
As I said, please talk to Office of Public Affairs.
You can't answer that question?
No, sir.
Whether they're safe?
Safety is a relative matter.
Over the last week, a jury in Marshall, Texas, has been hearing the evidence produced by Harmon's lawyers. An internal Trinity email shows engineers concluded shaving off an inch would save $250,000 over 5 years, and then discussed keeping the change secret. Quote, "I'm feeling that we could make this change with no announcement," unquote.
So even that 1 inch change should have been reported to the Federal Highway Administration?
Absolutely. You have to ask your question, why would you change it? What's the motivation for changing the 1 inch?
Even more damning for Trinity, says Harmon, 5 safety crash tests in which a version of the guardrail failed, one after another. The company conceded in court that these videos were never turned over to the federal regulators and were seen for the first time during the trial.
Mr. Mitchell, Brian Ross, and ABC News.
Outside court, the company president, Greg Mitchell, refused to talk about them.
Is there anything you can say at all? A lot of interest in why these videos were kept secret for so long.
Excuse me.
Is there anything at all you can say, Mr. Mitchell, at all?
Excuse me.
Nothing at all?
No.
Company officials later testified the tests were for an experimental use on a curved rather than a straight guardrail, so there was no need to reveal them.
My car was completely demolished.
Among those in court as the videos were played was Diana Allen of Webster, Massachusetts, who lost her leg in a guardrail accident 3 years ago.
If they had done what they were supposed to do, I'd have 2 legs and I'd be walking normal and have my life back.
The jury verdict came back late today after just 3 hours of deliberation. An award of $175 million and a finding that the company made false statements to the government. Harmon and his lawyers said the $2 email and the new videos were the key to the case.
I think it's a great thing for drivers on the American highways because for 7 years, Trinity has refused to tell the American public about the changes they made and about the fact that the changes were killing people.
The jury has sent the message, and it's loud and clear. They committed fraud. Do something about it. That's why we have regulatory agencies, to protect us all.
In a statement, the company said it will appeal and that the verdict will not withstand legal scrutiny. But the Texas jury decision now raises the question of whether the tens of thousands of Trinity guardrails currently on American highways should be recalled. 3 states, Nevada, Massachusetts, and Missouri, have for the moment stopped their use, and a 4th state, Virginia, is threatening to do so this week.
My main goal has always been to get a product recall. This is not the end of it. They're still out there. They'll still kill tomorrow. If we don't do something, they will fail, and they'll continue to fail. How many more people's got to die?
Under the law for cases of this type, the $175 million verdict will be tripled, and then more damages could be added on top of that. Ultimately, it could reach $1 billion, and that's before the lawsuits now pending brought by the families and victims of those who were killed and injured in guardrail accidents, Dan.
$1 billion.
That's right.
Thanks, Brian.